We are in a castle today. Why not? This is a backdrop that I use when I'm taking pictures of my dolls, and I had it out because I was thinking of taking some photos later. So hey, why not just be in a castle for filming? So it is July, and that means it is time for me to do my mid-year plan reevaluation. I am really big on planning and goal setting, and I set a lot of goals for this year, in particular for my writing and my publishing and the things that I do to help promote it. So now it's time to look at what I've been doing and kind of figure out where I'm going from here. At the beginning of the year, I sort of broke down my goals into 3 categories. There's one that was specifically for book-related business, one that was more for like my dolls and my other YouTube channel, which is much larger than this one. And then there were my personal goals, and I wrote them all down and put them in a little pocket in the front of my planner. Here is my my goals for 2024. I'm not gonna show you, like the personal one anyway, but like the writing ones here, and then the goals for YouTube and my dolls were here. And when I wrote down YouTube and dolls, I guess I should have specified for myself that it was really specifically for the doll-related YouTube. Because I'm also keeping this up, which is more the writing one. I don't know. But here we are halfway into my goals for the year, and I thought it might be nice to look at what I got done and figure out where I'm going forward. And here on my goal card for YouTube and dolls, you can actually see at the bottom I have my mid-year reevaluation written down there. And that was really sort of trying to figure out if what I was doing for that channel was working and if it was something that I was going to continue. Even though using that channel to market my books was never my intention, it's something that just kind of happened naturally along the way just because I was making my book characters into dolls. So it was impossible to show the dolls without talking about the characters, and that got people interested in the books, and that's pretty cool. But it's still supposed to be hobby-oriented for me, and it's something that I want to keep up, on the side. It doesn't really bring me very much money or anything. It's definitely not self-sustaining anymore. It was for a little while, but I reached a point with that channel where I could either focus on it full-time or I could focus on my books, and I chose my books and decided to put that on the back burner, and that really harmed the earning potential of that channel. But that's okay, because it's another creative outlet for me that is supposed to be lower pressure, and that's why I decided to try to stick to like a bi-weekly schedule for the videos this year. I've done really well on that. I'm halfway to the goal. I have videos scheduled for that channel to the end of August, and I've been able to keep up with that a lot better than when I was doing something every single weekend. So that's been a lot better for my creativity, my productivity, my health, and it gives me a lot more time to focus on this. I have my fan on, it's blowing this, it looks so weird. So my goals there were finishing 𝗀, who is a head sculpt that I made myself, and it is the lead character from my West King's Heist series. I wanted to finish those heads and sell some of them. I did finish them. I haven't been able to sell any of them, but I also haven't had time to market them, and that is just kind of a recurring theme. So I think from the middle of the year forward, I'm really going to have to be dialing back some of my hobby-related goals to make time for some of my book-related goals. I hosted a doll meet. I reopened my doll Etsy shop to sell off some of the stuff that I've made over the years that I no longer needed or wanted. I completed one customization project. There's still 2 projects on here that are unfinished. One is completing 𝗀's customization. I was going to make his heist outfit that he wears in the books, and he also needs something done about his hair. And I was going to complete 𝗀's outfit. 𝗀 is from the Snake's Blood saga, and I, for some reason, decided it was a good idea to make him like real chainmail. And I did not stop to consider how much time that was going to take. So I think dialing back my hobby goals, I'm just going to try to finish 𝗀 and that'll give me more time to talk about the Snake's Blood Saga, which that series is kind of getting a little bit of focus from me right now. I think that's probably all I really need to do with hobbies. The personal goals have really been more about, I have discovered I am a little bit of a workaholic, a little bit type A, and the best way for me to ensure that I still have time for my hobbies and fun stuff is to also put them down in my planning and in my goal setting and make sure that they end up on my Kanban board each month. I love the Kanban method of planning for visualizing what I'm doing. I color code everything, and I recently gave my board a little bit of a facelift to make it a little bit prettier. The cork was wearing out. I had been using this cork board for several years, and I've really been trying hard to put some personal goals on the Kanban board in addition to just work goals. So I have things on it like making sure that I read a book every month that's not just a craft book. I have to read a fiction book every month. That's one of my goals. Another one is making sure that I draw something every month. I used to spend a lot of time drawing, and back at the beginning of the year I decided that I had not really drawn anything since I illustrated the original covers for the Snake's Blood Saga books. And I really missed it, and it was important for me to make time to reteach myself to draw. And I'm doing a lot of sketching, so I try to do a sketch every week, a drawing every month, and that's pretty much the big stuff. And I've stuck with that pretty well, but I noticed that if I don't get it on my Kanban board right alongside my writing work, it does not happen. And then my writing goals are going a little less well. My goals for this year were to finish 𝗵𝗲 of Shadow, which is book 5 of my Spectrum Legacy epic fantasy series, and then finish Spectrum Legacy as a whole. The 6th book is actually going to have the same title as the series. The 6th book will be Spectrum Legacy. And I'm working on 𝗵𝗲 of Shadow, but it is slow going. Everything in the summer is slow going. I had originally wanted to also write the first book in my next writing project, but part of looking at things halfway through the year is really taking the time to recognize that I'm not going to be able to do that. It's going to be a 3-book year for me, and I'll be okay with that. It's a little bit less productive than I wanted to be, but some of these books are also very, very big. So 𝗵𝗲 of Light, I finished that in January, and it went out in February. And then The Witch and the Worm just went out at the end of June. So that was one that I wrote, edited, and published this year. So I think I can get 𝗵𝗲 of Shadow out at the end of this year, and I'll probably make good headway on writing the last book in that series, but I'm not going to have time to start something new. And honestly, that's probably for the best, because one of the things that I have not done very well at is the goal on here that is get better at marketing. I have been told many times that authors unfortunately need to spend 20% of the time writing and 80% of their time marketing. I've been doing it the other way around for the past couple of years. I've been spending as much time as possible writing and sort of trusting the idea that nothing sells the previous book as well as the next book. And to an extent that may be true, but subsequent books aren't going to sell the first book at all when nobody can see the first book exists. So my completed things on here are writing The Witch and the Worm, that one is done and published, and then also completing all InfoStack courses. And I did complete all of those writing and publishing courses. It was largely a waste of time. I think there were 2 or 3 courses in there that were good. There were some that were very useful. Overall, I think that it was probably worth the $50 that I paid. I saw that this year's course bundle has fewer courses and it's double the price. At $100, I don't really feel like it's worth it. One thing on here was, down here at the bottom, it said record audiobooks, and I got one done. I got the audiobook for Gail's Gift done. And that was a great learning experience, but going along with everything else, it was, very time consuming, and I don't really have the time to spare for that right now. I still really, really want to get some work done on audiobooks, but I'm not even going to be able to consider that until this fall, and my first priority needs to be working on Paragon of Shadow. My original goal was to get 2 separate books into audio. I wanted to do Gale's Gift, which got done, and then I wanted to do Of Blood and Rain, which is another novella, and I don't think it would be horrible, maybe like a week of recording and then maybe another week of editing, but I just don't see where I'm going to have 2 weeks of time to spare for something that's already, you know, several years old. It's not really the most fruitful use of my time at the moment. So since I did get 1 done as part of my reevaluation, I may go ahead and mark off the audiobooks. It's something that I have established that I know I can do it. I'm going to do it moving forward, but that may be something better suited to the big marketing push that will be next year. So really and truly, the one thing that I need to focus on the most at this point is going to be marketing. My books earn a very steady amount, but it is a very not life-changing amount. And honestly, this far in, with this many books out, I really should be making a lot more than my very small baseline. Right now, my books tend to pay for their production costs slowly over time, and then not really much else extra after that. I'm releasing 3 books this year. My books are earning about enough money for me to pay to produce 3 high-quality books this year. And then there's nothing else after that. So at this point, I'm kind of making the hard decision that after Spectrum Legacy is done, I'm going to need to probably take a break from writing altogether to really try to get some momentum behind my existing books. And part of that is really taking stock of the books that I have out, seeing what's working, what is not, what can be improved. I need to reevaluate like all of the blurbs for my different books. I need to reevaluate the keywords that I'm using for them. I need to look at categories. And for at least some of them, I need to take a very hard look at the covers. And that has been so hard. I'm going to actually devote an entire video to everything that I've put into thinking about the Snake's Blood Saga covers. I think I will always really love those covers, at least the first 4. I always felt like the last 2 were not quite as good as they should have been. They were a little bit beyond my art capabilities and didn't turn out as well as I wanted. I would love to revisit them after I spend this year developing more skill, but that doesn't help right now, and it also doesn't change that fantasy has really strongly trended in a different direction for covers. You don't see that many illustrated covers anymore. But I'll talk more about that in the video devoted specifically to what I'm going to be doing about the covers. It's just really hard sometimes to look at all of the effort that you've invested in something and accept that maybe it's not really the right course or the right track. But at the same time, it's really nice to be an indie author because you can kind of course correct a little bit at a time. If something's not working out, if something is starting to look a little bit dated, you have the option of going back and changing things and trying to make things work a little bit better. So moving into July, I already wrote out my tentative goals for the month in my planner. So the month of July is for the game Link's Awakening. And there I've got my goals, which honestly, they're a lot more modest than my June goals, which I got almost all of them done. But July goals, I need to put up some blog posts. I need to remember to send my July newsletter. There's my personal goals of reading a book, doing a drawing for July, and doing some sketches. And those are something that ultimately that will probably benefit my books too in the long run, because when I draw, I typically draw my book characters too. So if nothing else, it gives me things that I can share on social media. I'm taking part in an anthology that I've talked about a little bit. I submitted my story. The anthology editors liked it. I am helping with the cover, so I need to make sure I give myself time to get the cover done. For my doll channel, I have one project this month that I want to try to get done, and that is a piece of Vaughn's outfit. And I want to try to get a little bit of writing done this month too. I'm going to be trying to get Paragon of Shadow up to 40,000 words total. I fell a little bit short of my goal in June. I pretty much forgot to account for the part where we were going to be gone on vacation. But from here out, if I can at least get like 1,000 words written a day, which is not a ton for me, but it is a lot for summer, then I should be able to get there. I want to film some videos for this channel because I've promised people some things, like a video on how I format my books using vellum, and I would like to get that done and up at some point. It would be really cool if I could eventually get to where I post something every week, just because I think having some kind of accountability to show that I am writing and I am moving things forward would be nice. And then the biggest thing for this month is changing the covers for the Snake's Blood Saga. And as I keep saying, that's going to be a video of its own, and that's probably going to be the next thing because there's just so much to say about it. Hopefully it's going to end up being the right choice. I'll go through all of my reasoning and all of the factors that went into making that decision. And that's all I have written down for this month. I'm trying to make my priorities like some marketing steps. That's going to be like changing the covers and taking part in the anthology, doing artwork, things like that. Those can all feed into marketing. And then I'm also prioritizing my writing, trying to get Paragon of Shadow done. It's behind where I want it to be, but it's still on track for me to get it out this year. And honestly, changing things so that I'm going to be spending so much more time marketing it's difficult because I really feel like I am at my best when I am also writing a lot. And there's nothing wrong with being a hobby writer, but I also kind of have a goal at this point that I need my books to begin bringing in enough money that I can start putting money aside for a newer car. I absolutely love my car, but I am also being realistic in the fact that it is 17 years old and it is going to fail probably catastrophically at some point. The mileage on it isn't super high, it's like right at 100,000, so it'll probably last me a good while. But when it's time to replace it, I don't want that to be a big financial burden on my family. And I really do believe that my books and my writing have the power to help me pay for that. Not just for a replacement for my car, but, you know, a replacement dream car. Because ever since I was a little girl, I wanted a Mustang, and I was so fortunate and so blessed to be in a position to be able to get the one that I have. And I really want to be able to keep that going, especially with the way the world is changing. The entire culture surrounding American muscle cars is going to go away sooner or later. So it's kind of like, this is my last chance to really enjoy that. And if I get something new, I want it to be something that I really love and something that I've always dreamed about. And I think my books can help me make that dream come true. It is something very frivolous, but you know, if you're gonna dream, you should go ahead and dream big. At the same time, I'm also kind of trying to dream realistic. So the goal is pretty much see if I can get my books to bring in half the amount that would be needed to buy a new car, and then my husband, his job should help cover the other half. But the intention is to be able to pay cash outright so that there won't be any payments or anything. We'll see how that goes though. You know what they say about the best laid plans of mice and men, and I definitely feel a little bit more mouse-like right now. So I guess the next time I check in, I will tell you a little bit about my marketing plans for revitalizing things for the Snake's Blood saga, and we'll kind of go from there. That's it for this time. Thank you for joining me. I'm still wrestling with that big decision on the covers, but I guess you'll see why. So take care, and I'll see you next time.